Hey everybody, this is herculespetix, founder, curator, docent, and gift shop employee of the herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies. Today we're going to be looking at Mod number 1, kind of underground from 1981. I say kind of underground because it really doesn't have the over-the-top craziness that undergrounds were known for. It's kind of tame, but it is published by Kitchen Sink Comics. It does have some Bill Griffith zippy strips inside, and there are some underground cartoonists in here, but it's kind of just basically a humor title. It's kind of fun though. There's definitely some fun stuff in here. Obviously the cover here is parodying Mad number 1. Great logo. I like that. Tails mutated for the mod. That's a nice little tagline. Even the humor in a jugular vein is parodied on the side here. Humanoids in the jungle, eh? Which, that's just really odd. We have a little slacker business going on from J.R. Bob Dobbs. He's kind of like the patron saint of this comic. And obviously, this is a Kurtzman homage to the first issue of Mad. This is drawn by Terry Beatty, who seems to be the mastermind behind this comic. I think he's the editor. He contributes to almost most of the stories in here. This inside front cover is by this guy named Rodney Schroeder. And kind of primitive stuff. But it's just so dumb, I kind of like it. And we see this guy just going through this mutation just because he's trying to stifle a yawn. So that's the level of humor we're dealing with here. This is actually, I just found out from the indicia, it definitely is edited by Terry Beatty. The first story we have is Hanging on the Telephone, script by Terry Beatty, and art by George Cajero, who did a bunch of undergrounds. Really great style, George Cajero. A really great letterer, unique letterer. And just his style is pretty idiosyncratic. It's definitely his style. And this is just a goofy little tale about a guy who was fascinated by the telephone ever since he was a little boy. He loved to make prank calls as a little kid. As he got older, he started making kind of perverse calls to ladies. And then one night he decides to do something really mean, like the ultimate prank call. He dials a random number in the middle of the night, like 3 a.m, and he lets out a blood-curdling scream. The person who answered the phone is just scared shitless. And then when he says, who is this? And our protagonist comes up with a name. He says, it's Dave. And without knowing it, just by coincidence, it happens to be the name of this guy's brother. I guess Dave's a pretty common name. And then he just says, it's Dave, help me. And then he hangs up. So, of course, the brother is freaking out. He's like, hello, where are you? What's going on? He tried to call the police, and then he has a heart attack. It actually kills him. And then 1 year later, at exactly 3 a.m, his phone rings. And there's a voice screaming into the phone. And he's saying all these prank phone call lines. Like, do you have Prince Albert in the can? Is your refrigerator running? And the main character says, who is this? It's Dave, help me. And then the next morning they found Jaime. Oh, that's the guy's name. They found Jaime choked to death by his own telephone cord. And this is supposedly a public service announcement from your phone company. This is kind of interesting. They just have this one-page article about Lena Lovitch, the kind of new wave musician from the 80s. Gives a little history about her. Nice drawing by Terry Beatty. I gotta say, looking at this art from Terry Beatty, I can't believe he didn't use this pretty decent cartooning style when he did all those years of Ms. Tree, which looked like shit to me. I hated that comic. The art in that was terrible. But he's pretty good in this and doing all the different styles as well. And I think Ms. Tree came out about this year. So it's kind of weird to me. Speaking of which, here's a Terry Beatty solo effort, Mr. Bug Goes to Hell. And it's just a little song. You know, it's in verse. About this kid who loved rock and roll and stereos and electric guitars. wanted to be a musician, and he ended up shooting everyone in the crowd on his first big show because nobody was paying attention to him. They were just drinking and ignoring him. And so he went to jail, got the death penalty, and now is in hell. So this is really nice, but not as nice as you'd hope. So there's all these one-page Bob Burden strips peppered throughout this comic. This is like way before Flaming Carrot was a thing. I think maybe the first story had come out in like Visions, that fanzine at this point. Maybe it hadn't even come out yet. But Bob Burden was not like Mr. Flaming Carrot then. So these are early strips by him. They're actually dated 1978. So he probably had these in a drawer somewhere. But they're very surreal, odd little one-pagers featuring these weird characters whose faces seem to be hanging from stalks going out of their neck. And they're just really just bizarre, almost non sequiturs. This one is particularly just confounding. It's just like, I don't know what the hell they're talking about. But it's nice to see this Bob Burden art. Next we have Horror at B-Movie Beach. Story by Terry Beatty. Art by Gary Cato. And Gary Cato was, I think he might have done like one thing for an underground, but he was always like doing fanzines. Every now and then he'd do like a Charlton comic or something. Like he always popped up in the weirdest spots, Gary Cato. He kind of just this like typical cartoony style. Sometimes it's really good, like that face of Annette Funicello here. So it's a typical parody of like those Annette and Frankie movies. Everyone's happy. Annette tells Frankie there's some new groovy rock combo playing up at the beach. Meanwhile, there's a dark house on the cliff overlooking the beach. And it's this Vincent Price looking guy and this Peter Lorre looking guy. And Vincent Price is saying, this rock music must be stopped. I know what I'll do. I'll get a truly disgusting rock band from the future and bring them back in time. They'll play at the beach and they'll cause such a huzzarai that the police will come and they'll want to ban rock forever. Meanwhile, the Spiker Gang, Zipper Von Ripper and his Rat Finks, they're heading to the beach too. So it looks like trouble's a brewing. And so Vincent Price summons the band for the future and they play at the beach and they basically look like a typical punk rock band, which I guess back in 1963 you would find quite alarming and distressing. But the kids love it. They're all dancing along. The lyrics are just like 1, 2, 3, 4, decapitation. I want to see a decapitation. Hemorrhoids, hemorrhoids. I've got hemorrhoids. So dumb. And then we have various antics. Sergeant Bilko shows up for some reason. This is just really pretty nice cartooning, though. And then Peter Lorre doesn't like his master's plan. He just wants to have fun. He kind of likes the band. So he dances with Annette. She's like, you're kind of cute. And there's a big happy ending for everyone except for Vincent Price. We have another one of those Bob Burden one-pagers. This one's a little more linear. Just this guy telling this crazy story. This next one's Bad Reception. And another solo job by Terry Beatty doing everything. Once again, look at this art. Obviously parodying old EC science fiction comics. Way better than anything. You can't even imagine this is the guy who drew Ms. Tree. It's just, it's a pretty good pastiche. You know, it's not great, but it's pretty good for trying to look like a weird science fantasy or something. And this is a really odd idea for a comic. I don't know what he's talking about, to be honest, but he says, have you ever tried to tune in a TV station and ended up getting the picture from one channel and the sound from another? Maybe that was a thing back in the 50s and 60s. I don't know. So he does that for this comic. Basically, as you can see, it's a typical EC-looking comic. Bug-eyed monsters show up. But the dialogue is from a romance comic. And it's just describing these events as if they're on their first date, even though they're in a spaceship. And this other girl comes to town, a romantic rival for Brad, because the couple's called Brad and Janet. And it's the monster from the EC comic. Very strange. I imagine this could be pretty clever in like someone's hands, like Alan Moore or something. Someone who's really clever, or Jay Kinney. They would make this, take that idea and make it really work. But as it is, it's just it's an interesting idea. It's just kind of dopey. Another Bob Burden one-pager. Yeah, these are hard to explain. They're very odd. Here we have Giant Robots on Parade. Story by Terry Beatty. Art by Gary Ray. Gary Ray was the guy who inked Phoebe. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's not Gary Ray. Gary Ray, I was mixing up with Gary Whitney. I think Gary Ray I saw on fanzines as a kid. But other than that, I'm not sure where Gary... I wonder if he's related to Bill Ray of Big Blown Baby fame and Ren and Stimpy fame. Kind of crude fanzine, like cartooning, but kind of fun too. Kind of interesting. This is just about they have a parade for all the giant robots, which is pretty stupid because all the giant robots just start rampaging through the city and destroying everything. Very silly. Another Bob Burden. This is the kind of level of humor these. The fool, he's crying. I ought to cry. They gave me a dirty look today. See, I put it right here in this bag. Looks like a cat to me. What's a cat? Say, you aren't too smart. You want a broken nose? Oh, yeah. Here, I got 2 of them. And he reaches in his pocket. He says, I got them from the Chinaman. The one that gave Stanley the plant. Like, what? I don't know. But I don't know. I kind of like these in some stupid weird way. Probably because I like Bob Burden. But I don't know. They're not predictable. That's for sure. This is another Terry Beatty solo effort. The Normal Majority presents The Hour of Confusion. And this is obviously a total parody of Jerry Falwell and his Small Majority, which was really getting big at the time. Ronald Reagan had just come into office. And he basically paved the way for the moral majority to gain a lot of influence in our country. And things have been downhill ever since. This is a pretty heavy-handed satire here. It's pretty blunt. But there's no face in Miss Tree that looks that good. I don't think there's one. This kind of looks like Mike Zeck art. It's weird. Join the normal majority. All it costs is your soul. And here we get 4 zippy strips. Pretty sure these were some of his daily strips, reformatted. And he said, you can print some of my zippy strips. Because obviously he doesn't have access to big names in this comic. It's pretty much just like a fanzine. It's his work and a few friends, you know. So, just very typical zippy strips. But that's not bad. It's like a mini epic. Look at that. How much it crams in there. I like this one where Zippy changes his image to be more mainstream. And he says, how's this? It looks like Ziggy. Here's another Terry Beatty one. Amazing logo by Terry Beatty here. That's really good. And this is showing all these various mutants and mongoloids and weirdos. And it's almost like this a rock lyric. Our minds are vacuums. We are rejected. We are retarded. We are dejected. We are mutated. We are neurotic. We are bankrupt. We are psychotic. We are diseased. And it just continues like that, showing all these random weirdos. I'd like to put this to music, write a little punk song, just so I can use these lyrics. Goons. Another Bob Burden. So little kids throwing rocks at the moon. They're like, "What you doing, kid?" It's like, have you hit the moon yet? No. Here, use these bricks. So bizarre. But some of this art, I just still love Bob Burden's art. And here's a little Subgenius tie-in. A fake biography of Dr. Philo Drummond, Overman 1. And he's a big figure in the Church of the Subgenius. He basically is just right under Bob Dobbs as far as power in the Subgenius Church. So don't cross him. And it's pretty funny stuff. And basically this is kind of an ad for the Subgenius. It gives you information, you know, to, hey, if you want some of our pamphlets, send away for them. But I should mention that this art here is by Hagen. I don't know his first name, but some guy named Hagen. Pretty nice stylish ad for Mod and the other kitchen sink titles. And this is a nice little treat. We get a Hunt Emerson one-pager in color. That's pretty rare. The sartorial life of Hunt Emerson. And he's basically talking about throughout his lifetime, all the fashion trends that he kind of lived through and kind of became a part of. He was kind of a dirty hippie when that was the thing. Kind of became a glam guy for a little while, trying to look like Mark Bolan. And then he just looked like a total freak in the mid-70s. But then he really found a niche for himself, because like punk passed him by. But when the whole ska thing, the two-tone ska thing came out, because you might know this, Hunt Emerson actually drew record covers for the English Beat. I guess he was pals with them. So he was really part of that scene. He really liked that second wave of ska. And so he dressed like that, you know, with the nice suits and stuff. I love this little caricature of him. And then basically now he's an old man. And he doesn't get things. He doesn't get the new romantics. That was the big thing in 1981. People dressing like flouncy pirates and wearing ruffled shirts and looking like flock of seagulls and shit like that. But man, yeah, just a really nice Hunt Emerson. Get to see him use different styles than he normally uses. These fashion drawings are kind of... Definitely, I wouldn't guess they were him. So pretty decent kind of underground from 1981, Mod number 1. Hope you guys enjoyed looking at it. I don't know, I definitely think this is pretty fun. And especially for those Bob Burden strips and getting some zippies that I don't have anywhere else. And a Hunt Emerson strip. So right there, it pays for itself. Okay, guys, that's it for today's video. And I hope to see you next time here at the Herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies.